I always thought the smell of cheap perfume and betrayal would be obvious, but it turns out it hides perfectly behind the scent of fresh hospital sheets. My husband, Ryan, was supposedly fighting for his life in room 312 after a terrible car crash, and my heart was breaking into a million pieces. But when I sneaked past the strict ICU nurse to hold his hand, I didn't find a dying man. I found him holding hands with Chloe, my absolute best friend since college, whispering about how this accident was their perfect chance to disappear with my inheritance. My blood turned to pure ice right then and there, and I had to swallow my own scream just to stay silent. Everything I thought I knew about my perfect life was a complete and utter lie. If you want to see how I turned this devastating heartbreak into the ultimate payback, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now, because this story gets crazier by the second. I stood frozen in that dim hallway, my hands trembling violently, realizing the two people I loved most in this world had been plotting my ruin behind my back for months. It felt like a physical punch to the gut, making it completely impossible to breathe. I wanted to storm in there and rip Chloe's hair out, but a cold, calculating voice inside my head told me to wait. They thought I was the naive, rich girl they could easily manipulate, but they had absolutely no idea who they were truly messing with. I backed away slowly into the shadows, tears streaming down my face, making a silent promise to myself that they would both pay for every single ounce of pain they were causing me. I spent the next 3 agonizing days pretending to be the grieving, clueless wife while secretly digging through our shared bank accounts. What I discovered left me completely breathless. Ryan had already transferred $50,000 of my late father's money into a hidden offshore account, and Chloe was listed as the sole beneficiary on a new life insurance policy he had somehow taken out in my name. They weren't just planning to run away together. They were actively waiting for me to have a convenient accident so they could take absolutely everything. My own husband was looking at me like a paycheck, and my best friend was shopping for wedding dresses using my inheritance money. The sheer level of deceit was suffocating, and I lay awake every night staring at the ceiling, wondering how I could have been so blind to their obvious smirks and secret glances. But crying wasn't going to save me, so I forced myself to stop sobbing and started planning my chess moves. I contacted a high-profile forensic accountant and a ruthless divorce attorney who specialized in fraud, laying out every single piece of evidence I could gather. I learned to smile through my teeth every time Ryan called me from his hospital bed, pretending to be the doting wife, while secretly rerouting every single dollar back into an untraceable trust fund under my maiden name. The tension was eating me alive, but the sweet thought of their upcoming downfall kept me moving forward. By the time Ryan was discharged from the hospital, he walked right into a trap he never saw coming. I threw him a massive welcome home party at our estate, inviting all of our closest friends, his demanding corporate bosses, and, of course, a glowing Chloe who wore a smug smile like a badge of honor. They thought they were celebrating his survival, but they were actually attending the funeral of their own reputations, just as Ryan stood up to make a fake, tearful speech about how much he loved his devoted wife. The massive projector screen behind him flashed to life. Instead of the cute couple photos he expected, the screen displayed leaked financial documents, explicit text messages between him and Chloe plotting my demise, and video footage of them kissing in the hospital room. The entire room went dead silent, the air turning completely frozen as everyone stared in absolute horror. Ryan's face drained of all color, turning a sickly shade of white, while Chloe dropped her champagne glass, letting it shatter loudly against the marble floor. I stood at the back of the room, sipping my wine, watching the panic consume them as the realization set in that they were completely ruined. In a desperate panic, Ryan grabbed Chloe's arm and rushed out to his car, completely unaware that I had already tipped off the police about the illegal offshore accounts and the massive fraud they had committed. They were arrested right at the edge of the property, handcuffed in front of all our neighbors while I watched from the porch. The final twist came during the trial when Chloe tried to turn on Ryan to save herself, only for me to release the final piece of evidence proving she was the one who actually orchestrated the entire fraud scheme from the very beginning. She ended up with a 10-year sentence, While Ryan lost his corporate job, his freedom, and every single dime he ever tried to steal from me, sitting in that quiet courtroom, looking at their defeated faces, I didn't feel angry anymore. I just felt an incredible sense of peace and freedom. They tried to bury me, but they completely forgot that I was a seed. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted with your entire life? And how did you handle it? Let me know in the comments below. And please share this video with anyone who needs to know that karma always finds a way. Life is a beautiful echo. What you send out always comes back to you, so never let anyone mistake your immense kindness for weakness.